Morning. The February 3rd meeting of the Referrals Committee will come to order. I'll begin with the roll call. Councilmember Revelle.
Here.
Councilmember Fleming. I am here with 2 members present. We have a quorum and are prepared to do our work. We'll start with the kind of Zen koan posed by the project of public comment if there are no members of the public in the Zoom. So
do not see any.
I guess I'll do this. Are there any members of the public seeking to give comment this morning? Seeing none, we move on to the next item of our agenda, which brings us to approval of the minutes of our most recent meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Move to approve the minutes.
I second. Councilmember Revelle moves to approve the minutes. Mayor Biz seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Councilmember Revelle.
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and voted 2-0. The motion passes and the minutes are approved. This brings us to items for consideration, about which I actually have a question. Councilmember, a few times you referred to a referral you'd made regarding noise ordinances, and I just sort of politely nodded along at the time, and I never got that notification, but of course it is in fact in the referral tracker spreadsheet.
Could you say the first part of what you said again?
So you made this referral regarding the noise ordinance.
Yes, I did.
And I just never got it in my inbox. And I looked through spam and trash and all that, and it's just nowhere. Did you make it the sort of regular way?
Yeah, and it's on the, if you look at the referral tracker thing.
Yeah, exactly. I see it there, so I'm ready to talk about it. I'm sort of baffled as to what happened with that.
Yeah, no, it's not easy, shall I say, which may be a good thing, to find the form that you're supposed to fill out to submit a referral. But I found it and submitted it.
Well, the problem is exacerbated by the fact that there's actually multiple different forms, only one of which is the correct form.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure mine was a referral form, but anyway, because it must have been, because that's how it ended up on the referral tracker.
Yeah, right. No, that's the only. Okay. Well, I'll try to solve the mystery offline, but it's strange because Councilmember Kelly's referral and yours were made on consecutive days, and hers is right there in my inbox, and yours is not. So.
Okay. Yeah. And so those are the only 2 new ones.
Those are the only 2 new ones, and I think I got responses to pretty much all my emails last time, so I think we're sort of moving in a good direction. The one thing, sort of from the standpoint of your own agenda, that we should mention is that I think under the new chair, the Rules Committee is going to be meeting a lot less frequently, so that may have some influence on the velocity with which your Lighthouse Landing Complex Committee thing gets heard.
Sure. Yeah. But after we deal with our 2 new items, anyway, I noticed that a referral I made a long time ago in July, and got forwarded on to ANPW has never made it onto an ANPW agenda. And there are actually a number of similar items, not mine, but mostly Councilmember Reed's items, and those we've passed them on, but they've never actually gotten discussed. So I don't know how we want to handle that.
Yeah, I think a bunch of the old stuff isn't exactly that situation. I think
Right.
The new system is working, I
Right.
would say imperfectly, but much better and sort of pretty close to well. And then there's this sort of hangover of the things from before. So you're right, your curbside textile recycling is an example of that, but you're right, there's others as well. And some of Councilmember Reed's were kind of, there might have been a discussion somewhere, and sort of, I think his policy goal may have not been achieved, but sort of our work might on some technical level have achieved some sort of next step. But yeah, I think we could either go, we have 2 choices. One is to go over that, just to go through the list today, The other is to acknowledge that Monday is the first day that Allison's back, and that certainly was on the very top of her list of things to do when she got back.
Okay.
So I'm happy to go through it, or we can just put it on as an agenda item for our next meeting.
Yeah.
With Allison having done it by then.
Yeah, no, that'd be fine. That's yeah, waiting for Allison sounds good.
Okay.
I had not been keeping track of when she was coming back.
Yeah, I'm keeping close track because it
would be really nice to have her back, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just when there's a when there's a when you're drowning and a life jacket is promised at a specific date, you circle it down the calendar.
Right. No, and I have to say, I mean, you are being involved in a greater, in more depth on a lot of issues than is in your job description. I mean, I'm thinking, like our bridge meeting yesterday, and there's a lot of things taking up your time.
Well, I mean, maybe we don't do this in a detail in a public meeting, but I would just say that one of my qualities that is it is a shortcoming and a strength all wrapped up in one is I'm not very good at saying no. So,
right, yeah.
I'm trying not to stick my nose in places where it's not wanted, but also if people invite me in, I don't feel good about just saying, well, I'm too busy for that, never mind.
Right, yeah. But maybe now that we've kind of got this Lincoln Street Bridge project kind of moving forward, I think in a very collegial, harmonious way, maybe you wouldn't need to come to every meeting or something. I mean, I don't want to say you can't come, but
I would be very content not to come. Just
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it sent the right message at the beginning for you to be there. So.
Yeah, and again, hopefully, I mean, yesterday seemed, I mean, knock on wood, so much more encouraging than it might have.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is good to know, and I, since long before I became the mayor, I've been trying to do drills to figure out how to say no more often.
Okay.
Someday I'll learn.
Right. Yeah.
So shall we look at these two items?
Yeah, right. So we have the pilot task force proposal. Shall I just read my numbers?
Sure, go ahead.
I gave it a 2 for time sensitivity. I have no idea about that. 3 for scope, a 2 for connection to existing policy. Again, no idea here. 3 for community interest. How about a 5 for community interest?
Yeah, right. How about a 5,000?
And a 2 for goals and priorities. I mean, a lot of those things I just have no real feel for them. But there's, as we know, tremendous community interest in this, and the scope will be, it'll be a lot of work.
Yeah. So I was a bit more generous. I gave it a 2 for time, like you. I gave it a 2 for scope. And this is a really interesting point. I mean, the work of this task force is going to be very significant and time consuming. The work of deciding to create the task force is much less so, and I didn't know exactly.
Sure.
So I gave it a 1 for connection to existing policy, and a 3 for community interest, and then a 1 for alignment with goals, which adds up to 9. I mean, I don't know that we need to, I mean, so fine, there's some differences. I think the question is, I mean, so her request is to send this directly to council, which seems sort of unusual to me.
Yeah. So would we send it to rules first?
I feel like this could possibly go to the budget and finance committee, although I'm not exactly sure because she's asking for a task force, which is not an official committee.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
she envisions a task force that's made up of, very definite kinds of stakeholders, including several Northwestern representatives. It's a matter, I think it's a matter of what of our formal bodies should actually decide that, yes, we want to create this task force.
I don't know that we needed formal decision on the creation of a task force. A task force could just be created. I don't think that's something that we need the rules committee to decide. I'm just thinking for subject matter purposes, it might be budget and finance committee relevant.
yeah, I mean, right, I guess, or APW, since everything is about administration. Yeah, I mean, her vision here, which I think is borrowed from a number of other cities, is basically you get everybody just sort of talking collaboratively about, you get people to agree on some numbers. Those aren't numbers that are like an invoice you send to the university, but they're kind of an agreement about the benefit the university is getting. And then the university sort of says, okay, so our goal is to provide that level of public benefit, some in the form of direct cash payments, some in the form of buying fire engines, some in the form of educating Evanston youth. And there's no obligation. I mean, I think the example she's given, the universities in question don't wind up meeting the number, but there's sort of an annual sort of discussion about what is the number, how close are we coming, and why, and so forth. And so I think yeah, I mean, none of this requires any formal action at all. I think her attitude here, though, which is pretty sensible, is if we just sort of create this and it doesn't have sort of a stamp of approval as being something that somebody cares about, then it will, just sort of get ignored, or people go through the motions, and that's of course the nub of it, that it's a lot of work to really actually do this right. So anyway, I don't know if that's useful, but
no, I do think we need some kind of official mechanism to say that, yes, we want to create this task force, and especially if we're going to, I think it'd be really important, for example, for the mayor to be able to reach out to the new Northwestern president and get their official agreement to participate. So when I think about the timing of this, I don't know that the new president's going to want to do that the first day on her job, and she shows up in June. Is that it? So that's quite a way.
Do we have a date yet?
I don't know. I've always heard that Morty was leaving in June, and so I assumed that's when she was coming. But I really have no idea.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I know that he's the president this academic year, and she's the chancellor of Wisconsin this whole academic year.
Right. Yeah.
And then he's gone next year, and she's the president here next year.
Exactly.
Whether it's late June or early September, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I assume it wouldn't be early September.
No, right. So strategically, do we need to wait until she's here to? I mean, Northwestern may say, well, we need to wait. I don't know. I mean, who?
I mean, if I were them, I would.
Right.
Right. I think you're right. So that does buy us some time to send this through a committee and all of that. So yeah, okay. I mean,
so going, Kelly, to your comment about budget and finance, do you have a sense of what they had? They had so many things that they already could possibly talk about. Which is kind of why I thought, was thinking rules would be, at rules we normally get an item on our agenda and we talk about it and then we get rid of it. So
just go back to, for task forces, we've never created an official committee. It's always been an ad hoc of another committee.
Oh, okay.
So, and I do know Budget and Finance does have quite the agenda,
Mhm.
which is why the timing of this, if the committee were to say, this has to be on a Budget and Finance Committee agenda by June or July, might be fine timing anyway.
Mhm. But, and then the idea would be that they would say this is a great idea and they would recommend it to council though. I mean, ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, I agree with, I mean, obviously Kelly's factually right that this is not a normal way to create a task force, but I think Eleanor is also right that, and look, I think Councilmember Kelly is rightly, rightly coming off the experience during which a lot of different people on our side were talking to Northwestern in parallel about the gift they wound up giving to allow us to purchase a fire engine. We can't have that. That's just confusing for everybody. And so having a single, okay, the city council has said this body counts, this person is going to share it, as Eleanor says, the mayor is going to reach out to the president and initiate it, so there's no possibility of confusion about who's speaking for whom. I think there is real benefit to doing it that way, and it could avoid potentially serious problems, frankly. So I don't know. So we just say then, ask the Budget and Finance Committee to do this by the end of the second quarter, and that gives plenty of time for them to get it on an agenda, but also for us to be ready to do it. We can in time for the new president's arrival.
And is Councilmember Kelly on that budget committee?
Yes, and I don't remember the exact calendar, but I think the compromise that stemmed from the fact that several members sought to be chair was that the chair position is going to rotate I think it's supposed to rotate after 6 months, and we must be getting kind of close to that.
I didn't follow that detail, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll move that we forward this item to the Budget and Finance Committee and ask them to place it on their meeting agenda before the end of the second quarter of 2022.
I second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Councilmember Ravel.
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and on a vote of 2-0, the motion passes. This brings us to the noise ordinance.
Right.
So I gave this a 1 for time sensitivity, a 2 for scope, a 2 for connection to existing policy, a 3 for community interest, and a 2 for connection to our goals, for a total of 10.
My numbers were the same, except I gave it a 1 for connection to existing policy because it is an existing policy.
You make an excellent point. Okay, great. Let's go with that then. And so this is one of those things that I can never figure out. Is this it feels like a community development issue, so like a planning and development thing, but it's not really a planning or development thing at all. So I don't know what.
Or a land use issue, I guess would be the phrase, maybe.
Yeah, right.
I think, does this fall under, I can't remember if this falls under the health code ordinance?
It's under, it's its own, where is, I don't think it's under health.
Well, I definitely have no idea.
And it's where our leaf blower ordinance used to be.
Let's see.
Well, if that's not a good omen, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's under chapter 5, general offenses.
Okay. There
I do think this is health and human services.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's convenient since I'm the chair.
Excellent.
There you go.
So there's one provision in the noise ordinance that our corporation council wants to get rid of because it's way too any single individual could close down everything if they wanted to apply that one. So we need to eliminate that provision, and then I want to do something about the amplified music piece.
So it seems like we should send it to the Human Service Committee. Are you
Hmm.
okay with that? Oh, right, you are okay with that because you're the chair.
Right, okay. Yeah, so I guess I would move to forward it to the Human Services Committee and ask them to take it up. Well, we don't not have much longer in the
Well, we have 2 months in the quarter.
well, we only meet once a month, and we're meeting. It's too late for the February agenda.
Yeah, so the question is it feasible to put on the March agenda or not?
Yeah, well, I would hope so.
So let's do that.
Yeah, okay. That's my motion.
All right, so Councilmember Revelle moves that we send this to the Human Services Committee with a request likely to be granted by the chair that it be heard by the end of the first quarter of 2022, which is also to say the March meeting. I second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Councilmember Revelle?
Aye.
I vote aye, and I vote 2-0. The motion passes. Great. We did it.
Yeah.
Best meeting ever.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when we don't have a ton of new referrals for a change. So
Yeah, no, this is
yeah.
great.
But
But
yeah,
you're right that we do.
if Allison could help us kind of go back and see where we are with some of the, still outstanding items, that would be good. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and so moving forward, shall we just officially say we're meeting once a month instead of twice a month, or?
So here's the extremely annoying thing. We put in the rule that we have to have a schedule of meeting twice a month.
Mhm.
So I think, or every 2 weeks, I forget what we said, but I looked into that and it's not officially in compliance. I think we should obviously be very comfortable canceling meetings if there's something to talk about, but I'm not sure that it's worth initiating a rules change.
Okay.
It just seems like.
Right. And our league observer just needs to know to, I mean, I've informed her. I informed her when we canceled the last meeting, but I don't feel I'm gonna remember to inform her all the time. So,
Right.
yeah.
But don't we have I mean, it's a regular committee, right? Don't we have some sort of notification process for?
Yes, we do.
So if she would get an email that says it's canceled normally, or, I mean, if you sign up to be.
Who are we speaking about? Is there a
Cheryl
public commenter?
Wolin.
Yes, it will be on the city's calendar that it's canceled. And an official notice goes out.
And so if she signs up for the official notices for this committee.
She should receive it.
Okay. Because I don't think she's been receiving any information. She just knows she goes to the webpage and looks.
I'll double check with Luke.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So we will tentatively plan to meet in that first meeting, the first week in March.
Well, I'm afraid the third week in February.
No, isn't this is our, oh, right. I'm sorry. Where are we? I've lost track.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
I also, with this
So tentatively we're meeting in 2 weeks. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I also feel like February's been going on for 2.5 weeks, but in fact it is not.
Okay. All right.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
No,
Okay,
I'll
well,
just say
thank
it
you.
looks like minutes are already drafted, so.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Okay.
Thanks so much. And seeing
Thank you.
no further business to come before us, the referrals committee stands adjourned.
Okay, great.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Guys.